Welcome back to New Gen Marketing. Today we are talking about how to be real and authentic with Gen Z. We've talked about before that Gen Z and the way you talk to Gen Z is very different than previous generations and how you talked to previous generations. This week we're talking specifically on how can we be authentic and connect with Gen Z in a way that we normally wouldn't have to for other generations. And there's a number of ways to do this, and the first of which is to know the lingo. And I'm not saying you should go and memorize a whole bunch of Gen Z terms and try to overuse them in a way that doesn't feel authentic to you or to your audience or to your brand. But what I am saying is you shouldn't attempt to speak in a way that doesn't feel natural to you. You shouldn't try to be overly professional. I mean, if you go on to traditional marketing on Facebook, you'll see a very specific way that people are attempting to talk. But that is a turnoff to Gen Z. They're not going to be interested anymore. And if that means using words that aren't normally considered professional, that's fine, as long as you're being authentic to who your brand is, who you are, and who your audience is. The second way we can connect with Gen Z is by knowing the trends. Just in the nature of the fact that they are younger, Gen Z is more connected to trends and current happenings than previous generations. And yes, this is different from previous generations, but not different than the trends that we've seen when other generations were this age. So following what trends are happening, not being obnoxious with it, but finding a way to connect with the trends that your audience cares about and building those into your marketing capabilities is a great way to connect with Gen Z. A great example of this is Axe, this spray brand. They do a great job of taking what their audience cares about, which are specifically Gen Z and probably Gen Alpha, finding what trends they care about and connecting with those. They're very connected into the rap scene and adding their own Axe hook onto it. We talk about this all the time, and we've got a whole nother episode where we talk about having your own hook in whatever you're doing. But putting your spin on a current trend is a great way to do that, and Axe is a great example of a brand that is doing that. Another great way to connect with Gen Z is by showing the behind the scenes. We've seen in the past year or so a big new social media called Be Real. And what it does is it takes a picture in the front and a selfie picture at the same time. The concept is that you're seeing the behind the scenes of someone's real life, and they crave that feeling of authenticity. So whether it's truly behind the scenes or staged behind the scenes, that's a great way to connect with your brand, to say, hey, here's what our company's up to. Here's what we've been up to. Here's what we care about, and sharing that as authentically as possible. If we're filming something on set, we are showing the behind the scenes. So how can we show that authentic side of what we're doing? We worked on a show called Quincy All Access, where it was a television show, and we were doing some of the marketing side of that. And we took film photos behind the scenes of this TV show. So showing things that traditionally are not supposed to be shown is a great way to build not only authenticity and a true feeling of showing something that's not supposed to be shown, but also building trust and legitimacy behind your brand. So the last tip I will say on how you should connect with Gen Z is by engaging with them. They are very active online, commenting, responding. Do the same. Build an actual conversation with them. Having a genuine back and forth, listening to feedback, implementing new features is so valuable because the internet is so large, they've seen so much of it, so they feel as though there is a lack of transparency, which is true, and they are desperately looking for that. They're looking for that authenticity. So if you can have an authentic, transparent conversation with them online, in whatever section or way that that looks like for your brand, that's going to add a huge amount of trust for your brand as you're trying to reach Gen Z. So if you want to reach Gen Z or Generation Alpha, you need to be transparent, and you need to show the behind the scenes of what you're doing. Being truly authentic is the only way to actually connect with Gen Z in today's market. Until next time, this has been New Gen Marketing.